How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs co-beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today, as I do want to make a podcast breaking down what the Kansas City Chiefs really need to do in order to get into the playoffs. Now, as we know, they sit as a 6-7 record, which is funny enough with kids nowadays, that I'm sure that there has definitely been a joke or two made with 6 or 7. But regardless, for the Chiefs, it's not a record that they want to have. 6-7 is not a good record for a franchise who has really been the corner piece of everything in the National Football League as of late, or at least over the last few years. But they are in fear of missing the playoffs. They have already lost the AFC West division, ending their streak at 9 consecutive years of winning it. But there is still some hope for the Kansas City Chiefs to make the playoffs. And it comes in very specific ways. And I'm going to break them down for you. So the obvious one is that the Kansas City Chiefs, they have to win out for the rest of the season. They have the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 15, the Tennessee Titans, Denver Broncos, and Las Vegas Raiders as their final 4 opponents. If you remember one of my 2 podcasts yesterday, I dove into what's really ahead for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it focused on, if you win against the Chargers, you have 2 other wins that should be fairly free to you in the Tennessee Titans and the Las Vegas Raiders. You just have to get past the Chargers first, then take care of the Titans, and then hope on Christmas that you get a miracle by taking down the current leader in the AFC West in the Denver Broncos. To do that, that's a good sign for you to get into the playoffs. They haven't played well, or rather, I guess they did play very well against their AFC West division rivals earlier this year, but both the Chargers and the Broncos have beaten the Chiefs. Both very close games, but unfortunately, it has come back to bite the Chiefs where the sun doesn't shine, because now they have to fight their way into the playoffs by getting revenge over their AFC West divisional foes. Secondly, the Indianapolis Colts, now without Daniel Jones, a real kickstart to that offense and a real blemish to the rest of the season as goes. They have to lose at least 2 of their last 4 games in order for the Kansas City Chiefs to make the playoffs. They take on, the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Houston Texans. They sit with an 8-5 record. The Chiefs will still need to finish 10-7 in order for this to happen, but it is still very, very possible for the Colts to lose, especially now that they have a veteran quarterback in Phillip Rivers stepping back into the scenario for Indianapolis. Additionally, the Los Angeles Chargers, who do sit above the Kansas City Chiefs thus far, they need to lose at least 3 games or worse in order for them to make the playoffs, the Chiefs being them. 1-3 is what the record is that the Kansas City Chiefs are hopeful for the Chargers to have, and they have a really strong portion in doing so. They host the Chargers this weekend, Week 15, at Arrowhead, and if they get that victory, things are looking in the right direction for Kansas City. While I can say that it should be a good game, I am not so sure anymore of whether or not the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win after seeing how strongly the Chargers played against the Philadelphia Eagles this past weekend. On top of that, the Eagles have beaten the Chiefs. The Chargers have beaten the Chiefs. The Broncos have beaten the Chiefs. A lot of playoff contending teams, or at least having history with the team, have taken them down. While you can run on the narrative of They have to get revenge. They need to take them down. Reality has to set in, and that the Kansas City Chiefs, at least from what we're looking at right now, they're going up against a very strong defense in the Los Angeles Chargers, and they don't necessarily have a very strong offensive line, Kansas City, that is. Patrick Mahomes was running for his life against the Houston Texans, and yet they were still able to hold themselves within 10 points, which really could have been a kudos to the defense for allowing 20 points. But a lot of things just have to go right for the Chiefs on the offensive side of things in order for this to pan out. And again, going up against the Chargers, you're going to have to hope that you kickstart their losing streak while you kickstart your winning streak. But those are the three things that have to happen. Kansas City Chiefs, they are no longer in the driver's seat. While, they do control the destiny of themselves, a lot of other components have to fall into place in order for this to work out for Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes needs some help on the offensive side of the ball. The running back room is still a question and should easily be an area of improvement this offseason. The offensive line is very weak in the depth, other than Kingsley Suamataia and Creed Humphrey are kind of shaky. Those two are the only two holding it down. On the defensive side of things, the Kansas City Chiefs defense has been very wishy-washy this season, but from what we saw last week, especially after halftime, they stepped up because they knew that it was do or die. Unfortunately, things didn't work out in their favor, but it always takes two sides of the football to win a football game. And I would say that the Kansas City Chiefs defense did do its part in helping or at least giving the Chiefs a better chance at winning the football game. But going into the rest of the season, I do think that Steve Spagnuolo will have his guys ready, and everyone, whether it be on special teams, defense, offense, or if you're sitting on the sideline, things will have to go perfectly for you. That being said, be sure you follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. Post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs while we lead into another week of football. You can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI, both on X and Facebook. Every story gets posted there, and you're not going to want to miss any coverage because the Kansas City Chiefs on SI is the place to get your Kansas City Chiefs news. As always, folks, remember, be kind to one another. I'll see you tomorrow.